Welcome back, True Seeker. Last week, Ted Turner died on this day. And we said, and by this day, I mean last Wednesday. It's Wednesday, May 13th, 2026. Ted Turner died last week, May 6th. We said we got to look out for what happens in the news cycle on May 13th. And that was because Ted Turner launched CNN in Georgia in 1980, months after the Georgia Guidestones went up in 1980. And the Georgia Guidestones were a 19-foot tall stone monument that were about depopulation, limiting the Earth's population to 500 million to preserve the Earth. And 500 million is the believed number of people living on Earth before we revolutionized humanity with modern day agriculture and oil. Because of those developments, we were able to grow a lot more food, fertilizer, all these things that have helped sustain a much larger population on Earth. So you lost those things, humanity would not theoretically be able to survive as it does now with all of the abundance. But people will also argue that the Earth was a lot healthier before there were so many people consuming so much and polluting so much. So Ted Turner, 16 years later in 1996, gave that, whatever you want to call it, interview with the Audubon Society, bird watching society. In 1996, he said the Earth's population needs to be somewhere between 200 million and 500 million. And then years later, he said maybe 2.5 billion. But the point is, he thinks we need a smaller number. And that 500 million is what's on the Georgia Guidestones. And in light of him doing that in 1996, the Audubon Society interview about birds, at the same time, the hantavirus story reached a fever pitch at the time Ted Turner died, and Anderson Cooper was on TV that day talking about the next pandemic. Remember, that outbreak began April 6th, the 96th day of the year, and they said patient 0 was a bird watcher. So anyway, the reason we said that we got to look out for May 13th is because here we are, May 13th. May 13th is 201 weeks on the nose after the Georgia Guidestones came down, which came down 201 days after the Pope's birthday, who was Pope Francis at the time, the first Jesuit Pope, the order that venerates 201. And he was the first to live in Suite 201 at the Vatican, was Pope Francis. And if you're new here, the Jesuits have a long history of 201. Their order was preserved during the time of the suppression with Catherine the Great, who preserved 201 Jesuits in Russia. And it has to do with the Russia-Ukraine war, starting at a big 201 rituals we covered back in 2022. And it has to do with Cooties 19 being simulated by a bunch of Jesuits with Event 201. And, of course, the Georgia Guidestones came down in the time of coronavirus. So anyway, here we are now, 201 weeks after the Georgia Guidestones came down, and Rand Paul today is bringing forth an anonymous CIA whistleblower to say that coronavirus was a conspiracy. No shit. And where is Trump at today? He's in China. Oh, remember that? The China virus, how he kept calling it the China virus. And don't forget, as we covered, the World Health the World Health Organization did participate, but the World Economic Forum, also in Switzerland, like the World Health Organization, where all those banks are that profited off of Cooties 19 from all the stimulus and loans and all the interest they're making off of it. But remember, the World Economic Forum, who simulated Cooties with Event 201, do you remember where Trump was the day the first confirmed case of coronavirus showed up outside of China in Bill Gates' backyard? Remember where Trump was that very same day, January 21st, 2020? He was at the World Economic Forum in Switzerland, gloating about his trade deal with China and how the world would never be the same again. So now Trump just happens to be in China today. And we're going to go through and see how this is further proof that, from Xi Jinping to Trump, who are born a day apart, how they're both on the Jesuit puppet strings, and how today's meeting is no doubt the work of them. Just like Rand Paul bringing forth the CIA whistleblower, how this is all just part of one big show. But yeah, think about also how there's this hantavirus scare in the background. And there's definitely something about them using Asia and viruses. Remember, Gene Hackman's wife was Asian, and supposedly she died from hantavirus in New Mexico, where the hantavirus outbreak began in 1993, 33 years ago, because they can never get enough 33, like how they said there were 33 cases in the Four Corner states, and go figure that today is 33 days before Xi Jinping's birthday. Again, just all these little numbers that they use over and over ritualistically. Again, they're all here today. And then I'm also going to show you what this has to do with Taiwan gaining its independence. There's a long-standing theory by some that World War III will begin when China invades Taiwan. Some people think Trump today is telling China that they have the green light to take Taiwan, as long as they don't go after the U.S. if a bigger skirmish breaks out. So yeah, let's look at all these little storylines today and see how it all comes together oh so perfectly, following every single pattern we've been teaching for going on 13 years straight. So here's Rand Paul. A lot of people think his father was just the greatest politician there ever was. I'm here to tell you that Ron Paul talked a good game, just like a few other people who've gone through Congress and Senate have talked a good game. A lot of people think Thomas Massey's the closest thing to Ron Paul today. Of course, Thomas Massey sacrificed his wife by the numbers. Again, you guys, all of these people are actors, and they have to put some actors in there to keep people from revolting in the streets. You know, the Ron Pauls, the Cynthia McKinneys, the Dennis Kuciniches, the Thomas Masseys for some. These keep some people from outright revolting, and that's why they need to be there. And of course, Rand Paul, you know, some people think he's a good guy. He's a white hat. He's not quite what his dad was, but he gets, you know, he got to be the guy battling with Fauci by the numbers through the whole scamdemic. And now he's doing this rich. And every time we showed you, every time it was a perfect ritual, just the same old code over and over again. So now here we are on the day we had circled. Keep in mind, you guys, this is the kill date for May 2. They're talking about the thing that killed a lot of people if they went to the hospital. Their lungs got blown up. Those medicines turned out to be pretty lethal. Anyway, look at it, guys. It's 13/5, right? Let's just start right there. 135. Central Intelligence Agency 135. Remember the shooter in the Route 91 Harvest Festival shooting on the day, leaving 91 days left in the year right after... what's Mr. Playboy? God, I can't think of his name. I'm getting Alzheimer's. Does Alzheimer's start in your 40s? Goodness, what the hell's his name? Hugh Hefner. Remember, Hugh Hefner died at 91, right before the Route 91 Harvest Festival shooting on the day, leaving 91 days left in there, and the shooting was right by the street named after him. Hugh Hefner, known for wearing the red and black smoking jacket, the colors of the Jesuits, died on what day? September 27th, the anniversary of the Jesuits being recognized by the Roman Catholic Church. Who was performing at the time? Jason Aldean, whose name equals 201, like Las Vegas Strip. Anyway, the point I'm making is the supposed shooter was shooting from room 135, floor 32, room 135. Again, when Gina Cherry Haspel was the head of the CIA, they did a bunch of 135 rituals with her. It's also a big number with the Illuminati, which was founded by the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt. Order of Illuminati 201, founded in Bavaria, which equals 135. Adam Weishaupt died in history on the 322nd day of the year, November 18th, 1830, 322 days from the May 1st anniversary. Did I misspeak? He died on the 322nd day of the year, 201 days from the May 1st establishment anniversary of the Illuminati. But notice today's ritual, 322 weeks after the pandemic was declared, right? 322 weeks just happens to line up this way. Illuminati connections, 135, 322, 201, they're all here. The monument to depopulation, from the day it came down to today, 201 weeks. And let's not forget, what was the date on the Georgia Guidestones? It was March 22nd, 1980, 322. And it came down on July 6th. In case you forgot, it came down on George W. Bush's 76th birthday on 7/6. And George W. Bush's birthday is also Daniel Coit Gilman's birthday, another Skull and Bones member. Whoops, I don't know, I didn't mean right. Gilman's. Daniel Coit Gilman, also 76. Look it up. His birthday is also July 6th. And who's he? Not only a Skull and Bones member, but he's the founder of the Johns Hopkins University. And of course, that's another 322. and the Johns Hopkins University gave us all the data during the time of Cooties 19. Today's also the 133rd day of the year, 133, 322. It's nice how that goes together, right? And ancient mystery religions. Those include things like Kabbalah, where this whole thing of letters and numbers comes from, alchemy, Hermeticism, all the things the occult are into are the ancient mystery religions. But 322, 133. Again, here we are on the 133rd day of the year. So, yeah, all of these numbers are big with the Illuminati, which was founded by the Jesuit, which are big numbers with the pandemic. And remember things like Joe Biden getting his first shot at 3:22 in the afternoon sharp. Somehow he's still ticking. He must have got one of them placebos. Anyway. Yeah. This stuff, you guys, it's just not an accident. It's just perfect patterns. It's perfect ritualism. It's how you can see all these people are puppets on strings, and you can see who the puppeteers are, the people who invented the system. Who else? The Roman Catholic Church and their Jesuits. And we have more on that in a moment. And don't forget, I mean, Skull and Bones Order 322 is also modeled after the Illuminati. Founded in Bavaria. You see how Bavaria's got the 135, like I just said, and also the 54? What election did George W. Bush win? George W. Bush, the Skull and Bones member whose daddy used to work at the CIA, didn't he win the 54th election right before 9/11, going with Osama? They finally got Osama in 2011 on his 54th day of being 54 years old. The man responsible for all the terrorism, another 135 and 54. And yeah, it's just, remember they had to change all the laws because they had to terrorize all the terrorists to get all the intel. But then they finally get the guy behind all of it, and they just kill him and throw him in the ocean. He's all gone, you guys. Oh my God. You know, oh my God. I remember stuff in my Facebook. That was like the worst day of my life. I think that might be, well, I mean, there's been some other bad days. It's one of the worst days of my life, the day that Osama bin Laden died, because it just confirmed for me how stupid almost everyone I knew was. Just everybody going ballistic in my Facebook feed, all my, friends and people I worked with and everyone who I went to grad school with, people teaching other children. That's what I just thought. I was mostly focused on all the teachers that I went to school with celebrating. And I just thought, God, the dumbest people are teaching our kids. No wonder we're such a bunch of idiots. But yeah, it just couldn't beat him. All the 11s on 9/11, and then they get him in 2011 by the numbers. I hadn't quite learned Gematria yet. I wouldn't learn that for 2 more years, but I wish I would have known. I would have been showing them then. Not that they would have listened. So yeah, just to remind you, the Georgia Guidestones did come down 201 days after Mr. 201's birthday, Jorge Mario Bergoglio, who died 201 days from the guy he was named after on Rome's birthday. Again, Pope Francis dead on the 201st day, 201 days from St. Francis of Assisi, on the 111th day of the year, on the 312th day of Trump's age. I know I've done this a million times, you guys. I'm going to do it a million more times. After Trump got 312 electoral college votes, the Chicago area where Pope Leo came from, and then the 105 is right there for Pope Leo. And don't forget, the Suite 201 that Pope Francis was living in was previously the hospital named after the last Pope Leo, who died on the 201st day of the year. Go figure. And in light of the CIA thing today, CIA whistleblower who knew all along, the CIA, don't forget, it was created on the 201st day of the sitting Pope's age at the time, September 18th, 47, in the time of Pope Pius XII, National Intelligence, Catholic Pope, the Jesuit Order 201. The CIA's motto, the work of a nation, the center of intelligence 201, the words in the CIA's logo 201. Who created the CIA? A prominent Catholic. Who created the FBI? A prominent Catholic. What's the White House named after? A prominent Catholic Jesuit priest. What was DC's old name? Rome on the Potomac. Ask the modern day truth community who runs the whole show. It's the Jews. It's Israel. Jews, Israel. It's like, nope. Wrong. And that's why this deep state thing is your fake truth community too. State of Israel 201. Everything about that country is 201 from the beginning to the present. Notice the CIA created it at the same time that the United Nations, which was created in America by Roman Catholics. The United Nations recognized Israel as a nation. Both happened in September of 1947. Israel officially established May 14th, 1948, but recognized as a nation September 3rd, 47 by the United Nations. Tomorrow's Israel's 78th birthday. Look out. Look out. Remember, this war here with Israel and Hamas that has escalated into more things like what's going on with us in Iran now. It began while the country was 75 years old, Israel. And I predicted this like a decade ago that major war would break out in Israel while it was 75. I've been a broken record about that for a long time before it happened. But order out of chaos, also 78. And you see the 183 and 222, just like Superior General. And again, the current Superior General was born the same year as Israel. And you can see how order out of chaos and Superior General are 183 and 222. Tomorrow is 183 days after the Superior General's birthday. Today's is 183rd day of his age, and today's also 183 days before his upcoming birthday, as we have these other rituals going on today. So it's pretty much right now, today and tomorrow, the midway point of his age, where he will turn 78 later this year. But yeah, just to read a little bit about this today, the Senate Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee will hear testimony from an unnamed longtime CIA employee on Wednesday on allegations that there was a cover-up of the origins of the COVID-19 virus with roots that run deep in the federal government intelligence community. It's part of Senator Rand Paul's crusade against former National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease Director Dr. Anthony Fauci, of course, Jesuit educated is Fauci, and his role in examining the origins of COVID-19, his response to the virus, and ensuing actions taken by the federal government during the pandemic. Just for reading a paragraph like that 6 years ago, your channel would have been deleted. Don't forget Howard Hunt talking about how the greatest intelligence network in the world is the Jesuits. Don't forget the CIA character. You probably played his video games and seen the movies and TV shows after him. Jack Ryan, Jesuit educated, went to Boston College, has the quote about how the Jesuits run the world. They're just humble about it. It's more than fiction. So let me make sure I got it all in here. Yeah. All right, let's transfer over to Trump in the land of the China virus. Again, Event 201, only 2 CDCs participated in the world at Event 201, and that was China and the U.S. Go figure. And don't forget what happened to Trump's ex-wife, her very Jesuit death on the same day he said he'd run in the 60th election, which was exactly 60 weeks into the first Jesuit nation year before he buried her on the 201st day of the year. She died July 14th, 2022. She was buried July 20th, 2022. And the day she died can be written 14/7, like President of the United States equals 147, like U.S. President equals 147. By the way, drop the U.S. part. Here we are on the 133rd day of the year, and the 2 most powerful presidents in the world are together, right? And do you remember 2015? Were you here in 2015, the day of the first GOP debate on Fox News? If you weren't here, you missed out, because what did I say that day? I said, I said, Forbes, they just put up on the screen as Trump spoke for the first time that Trump's the 133rd richest person in the world, according to Forbes. And I said, that's the big White House government number. And, you know, I didn't even know that president equaled 133 because I wasn't running the alphabetic order in reverse in 2015. I wish I would have, because it would have just added my suspicions. But yeah, White House. And I'm sure you know that President and White House are both 47. We talk about these things a million times. But White House 133, government 133. See, I knew that, and I said, man, are they putting the orange Oompa Loompa in the White House? I have been calling them that for this long. But yeah, if we would have just had the president too, I'd be like, okay, this is Lock City. But hey, I did advise it back then. It was 50-1 odds at the start of the thing to become the president. 50-1 for the Donald in America. Donald 50, America 50. Congrats to the winners. And people thought I was insane. They're like, there's no way. There's no way. There's no way. There was a way. Here he is in his second term. And don't forget, he told you 4 years in advance he'd be coming back. Told he'd be Biden in 2020. He sacrificed his son in the 201 ritual. Again, Biden's also Jesuit educated. Then Trump does the same thing to his ex-wife. You want to be in the highest puppet position of the land? Ooh, man, it comes with some sacrifices. Trump's lost, what, a brother, a sister, his ex-wife? Who else? I'm sure some other people along the way, but I know all of them died in recent years. So yeah, on the 133rd day of the year, the two most powerful presidents meet. Today's 33 days before Xi's birthday. Xi. And it's 32 days before Trump's, which is fitting. America has the 32, like Scottish, like the 32 sun rays on the Jesuit Orders logo. Again, they're probably laughing about the corona over there as they joke about the Hanta. Can you guys stop telling me that Hanta means scam in Hebrew? We covered that like a week ago. You guys watch my videos? Corona, of course, masonry, secrecy, order, federal. Yeah. So also, they're talking about the war, right? And the number that they always put with 33 is 74. I mean, the first video I ever did was about how they put 33 and 74 together with everything. Run the 50 states in the most simple cipher. The first one, only one equals 74, right? Only one of the 50 equals 74 in 33rd state, Oregon. London, 74, divided into 33 neighborhood areas. England also has that 33. Again, Jesus equals 74. The belief is Jesus on the cross at 33. You know, Bible's got that 33 too. But cross is also 74, like Messiah, like gospel, like parables. Out of the English words, there's around a 1% chance that a word will equal 74 in the most simple cipher. About a 1% chance. So if you don't know how to do math, again, Jesus, cross, Messiah, gospel, that's the story of Jesus, Jesus spoke in parables. They're all 74. And he's Jewish, right? 74. And so anyway, you have Jesus, cross, Messiah, gospel, parables, Jewish. All these words that go together. And the original practice of Gematria is to find words with natural relationships that have the same matching numerical value. So Gematria 74, just like English, like occult. So, you know, all these words fit together, but let's just stick with Jesus, cross, Messiah, gospel, parables. Let's even leave off the Jewish part. Let's just stick with these five. The odds of all of those having the same 74 value is about 1% times 1% times 1% times 1% times 1%. So if you don't know how to do math, it would be 1. Here, let me pull up an online calculator here. Online calculator. So 1% is 0.01, right? Times 0.01. Okay, so we're already getting astronomical here, right? But now we got to keep doing this. So that's just have two matching pairs times 0.01 times 0.01 times 0.01. We have a just it's like the odds of winning the lottery. It's like winning the Powerball for all of those things to be the exact same. And, you know, we had the Big Tip Bimbo debate a few months back. She said that she was going to smoke me in a debate, and she didn't. And I told her, I said, if you smoke me in the debate, it'll be obvious. And she really needed a MacBook. She's got to learn how to use her physique a little bit better if she has to beg for a MacBook. I literally would have bought it for her if she would have brought a even halfway decent debate, even made me sweat a little bit here and there. But she said, fine, just pull out the calculator and I'll just show you how words line up. And what it went on for like 20 minutes of her just calling out words and nothing connected. Just nope, no match, 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 no match. Again, you guys, the stuff I show you every single day is improbable. Improbable. And the reason people don't get it is because people are dumb. Same reason they continue to watch TV and believe what they see from the thing that does nothing but scares them and lies to them and misleads them and sells them shit they don't need. But yeah, so anyway, ongoing lesson that I've made a gazillion times about 74 and 33, and there's a whole lot more. They pair these numbers all together all the time in rigged sports games. But yeah, 33 days before Xi's birthday, 74 days after the war began. And if you wanted to count the span of days to Trump's birthday, you could also say it's a span of 33 days to Trump's birthday. Don't forget, in light of Cooties 19, it was simulated with Event 201 on what day? October 18th, the day leaving 74 days left in the year, which is also the anniversary of the Masonic Lodge in D.C. being established. And remember, modern Freemasonry is a Jesuit creation. So 7433, and then just the whole hantavirus, China virus, all of these ongoing coincidences, which they're not, over the years, and this now. And just a reminder about the 201s with Pope Francis dying, and now 201 weeks since the Georgia Guidestones came down. But look at this. The last time that Trump met with Xi Jinping, his tour in China began November 8th. Which is interesting because that number is all over this MV Hondias, and it was ordered on November 8th, that boat. MV Hondias equals 118 like death. But look at this. From the beginning of the meeting last time to today's beginning is exactly 444 weeks. And remember, we talked about this 444. Trump did the latest State of the Union in the history of the country this year, and it was on February 24th. Which was the 444th anniversary of the Jesuits implementing the Gregorian calendar. It was the 444th year since they did it on the nose. Trump, who's Jesuit educated, went to Fordham. And in Sumerian gematria, that's just where you multiply the alphabetic order times 6. So any of these things that were 74, like Masonic or occult or English or London or any of them, just any of them. When you multiply times 6, they're 444. You know, Jay-Z has the 444 album, Rapper 74. It also becomes 444. Don't forget what they did at the opening game of last year's NFL season on Beyonce's birthday. You had the spitting thing with Carter on Cowboy Carter's birthday, and then they had to stop the game with 444 on the clock. Jay-Z picks out the music supposedly for the some of the NFL games in the Super Bowl now. Anyway, making matters even more interesting, from the day of that Trump meeting, I was overlooking this one all this time. I don't think I had done the calculation on this. From the day of that first meeting with China to the day Trump went to the World Economic Forum to gloat about his trade deal with China and how the world would never be the same again, that was exactly 115 weeks. And do you remember what day they said Cooties showed up in Seattle from China? They said it was January 15th. And that was in the time of the 115th Congress. And don't forget how the 115th World Series was perfectly synced with Trump. That was a huge payout. We helped Bill make some serious funds off that because we had the Nationals to beat the Astros in Game 7 before the Nationals even clinched a spot in the damn playoffs. Huge odds. That's because we saw Game 7 was 138 days after Trump's birthday, and he hired Steve Ray, the Nationals announcer, for the inauguration as he took office with the 115th Congress. And then the Nationals win the 115th World Series. And don't forget the Nationals logo. Look at the Nationals logo, the baseball team, the Washington Nationals. The W is made into 201. Just look at it. Here, Nationals logo. Do you see it? Do you see the 201 in the Nationals logo? 201. But yeah, again, they won that 138 days after Trump's birthday. They threw 159 pitches in the game. That same night, Houston came back and beat the Wizards with 159 points. And we had a nice parlay. We had Houston to beat. God, what was it too? It was something about the Houston coach. It was Mike D'Antoni at the time. God, what did he get? I think he got the career win that was the 115th prime number. But anyway, Donald Trump 138, Nationals 138, Dave Martinez 138. And that season, the Astros and Rangers were playing each other, and they performed the biggest 3-2-2 ritual synced with George H.W. Bush, who'd recently died. Again, the Bush family used to run the Rangers. And so we had the Astros all year to be in the World Series, and we were looking for the NL team. Dave Martinez, you guys, they hadn't made the playoffs yet because we picked Nationals to beat Astros early in September when Dave Martinez did the ultimate skull and bones ritual. In his 322nd game managing the Nationals, he got his 149th win over the Cleveland Indians. and it was, God, I have to go back and look at everything, but I want to say it was 322 days from Prescott Bush's birthday, who was also in Skull and Bones, who's believed to have stole Geronimo's skull. They were still the Indians back then. By the way, did you guys see they said there were 149 people on the MV Hondias? 149, and it departed on 4/1. And again, Skull and Bones is connected to everything too, because it's another one of these Illuminati orders. But yeah, I remember it like it was yesterday. 149th win in 322nd game. And don't forget, DC's the 202 area code, and Papa Bush was number 41, and his son was born 7/6, and the Georgia Guidestones came down on his 76th birthday. But yeah, look at this. Masonic 115, and then of course Cooties 19. It killed a lot of unhealthy people, elderly people who followed what the TV told them to do. They walked right into the death trap because they didn't know any better somehow in 2020. And again, there are, you guys, natural consequences, right? Natural law. There's consequences for being willfully ignorant, willfully dumb, to continue to watch the TV in 2020. I got to be careful what I say because I feel bad about my neighbor who died and my other neighbor's sister. I mean, there's some people that, I don't know. Men are supposed to be here to protect the ladies, right? I hold a different standard for women than I do for men, but maybe I should. Anyway, just look at it. All the same numbers as killing, right? Masonic and killing. It's got this same code. It's over it. They're discussing World War III essentially today. That'll be a lot of killing. Just like when they take out people with their I mean, you guys, the way the whole medical system, I mean, it might as well be called the death system. You put these elderly people in the nursing homes, and they got them on this medical regimen that's made to accelerate their death process. Like my poor grandmother on my father's side got put in a nursing home, and she was as tough as nails. She must have had the greatest genes because all she did was drank, smoke, and ate Fruit Loops for her whole life, and sat in a chair and watched bullshit TV. About as unhealthy as you could be, but lived into her 80s. And man, she went in a nursing home. She was dead like within less than a month. And ironically, she died the day that I was traveling to visit her for the first time in the nursing home. Yeah, it was like blew my mind. I just thought, how did this happen so fast? What? But yeah, it's because they put them on a crazy regimen of drugs, and then they're out of here. With regards to the 118 thing, their last meeting starting on November 8th, it's interesting that Taiwan got independence from Japan on April 28th, 1952, after World War II, 118th day of the year. And notice that was 74 years and days ago. We just passed the 74th anniversary, with now Trump and Xi meeting 74 days after the war began, mostly about the war, where, again, there's been a theory out there that World War III could begin when China invades Taiwan. And don't forget, the last pandemic was the worst since the one that came out of World War I, and all these things are neatly tied together by the same old code. Art of War equals 102. It was 102 years after Spanish flu that we got Cooties 19 from 1918 to 2020. And World War has the 102. And again, the reason we know the book Art of War is because of the Jesuit priest Father Amiot, who translated it in France right before this nation was established, as in the United States of America, that's always at war. And funny enough, also, look at the current leader of Taiwan, which is known also as the Republic of China. He assumed office on Cannonball Day, a year to the day of the pandemic declaration, but May 20th, 2024. And from that day to day is 23 months and 23 days, like Taiwan's 23, like Donald's 23. Republic of China's 83, the 23rd prime. So looks like the chessboard is well set. And just for the record, also, Taiwan has that 68. It's got, like, Donald John Trump has that 68. Like The Apprentice has that 68. Like CIA has that 68. And again, here we are on 13/5. Central Intelligence Agency 135. Kevin Warsh confirmed today. Interesting. We know what happened. Remember, he was nominated to assume this position on January 30th. Kevin Warsh 130 and 49 and 140 like Washington. nominated by the numbers. Catherine O'Hara died that day, who was known for screaming Kevin in Home Alone, which Donald Trump's in. And she died at 71, like Federal Reserve is 71. And John Hearn, who was the father in Home Alone, also died at 71. And he died during Trump's first term in 2017, right after he took office. And he did portray Donald Trump in Snake Eyes. I believe she died at the tail end of the year of the snake. But yeah, there's probably something more to the Kevin Warsh thing. Today is 103 days later. Mercury is 103. It's a Wednesday named after Mercury. Jesuits has the 103. And the Federal Reserve has the Jesuit fingerprints all over it from the beginning to the end. That news just broke that he got sworn in, so I didn't really do much of a deep dive on that. But the 103 days later is jumping out to me in light of it being Wednesday, Mercury Day. Let's see how the market might be reacting to the new Fed chair. It's pretty much even for today. It's only down 27 points, so pretty neutral reaction. Well, it looks like it was down earlier and had a small jump. Oh, the market's in the 49K range at the time we get Kevin Warsh. That's interesting. It's actually pretty interesting. Have they given us a date of birth for Kevin Warsh? April 3rd. Oh, funny. He's born on the 103rd day of the year. Huh. Born on the 103rd day of the year and 103 days after the nomination he's in. Go figure. The ritualism. Trump, we're 2 days from Mercuralia. I'll see if he has a big announcement on Friday. Trump declared Operation Warp Speed on Mercuralia. Comey did the Super Mercuralia ritual, the 8647. Remember, he did the 8647 on Mercuralia 8,647 days after 9/11, but Mercury's also 86, and Mercuralia has the 47, 8647, Trump 47. He said he'd never heard of the term 86 before. He just thought the seashells looked nice in that arrangement. What a joke. What a joke. Sally G says, thank you. Hey, Sally, thank you as well. I appreciate the support. Open Up says 6 occurrences, each with a 1% chance of happening, would have a 1 in a trillion, all to align, highly improbable, possible in a controlled system. Yeah, it's even worse than winning the lottery, isn't it? We have CTE in the chat. Hey, CTE. I got 10 minutes and then I need to go get my daughter. I can't be late because I don't have the grandparents watching anymore. I got somebody who also has to get to another job, so I have to be real on time for picking up Sweet Girl. If anybody wants to join, including CTE, the link has been dropped. 10 minutes. It is the kill date. I saw a poor Bollywood actor got it at age 47. Poor guy. Dilip Raj on the kill date. Oh, a 40-year-old rugby player. Kill date, guys. Look out. The young entertainer is always on the kill date. 47 and 40. Around the same age as yours truly. Yeah, I'm sure if I knew something about this Bollywood actor, it would make a lot more sense. We need D26 to investigate our Indian Gematria genius. What's up, Green Kid? Green Kid, you got to unmute.
Sorry, my bad. I was watching the stream on a different device. Anyways, so I don't know if you covered this, but I guess there's 1,700 stranded on a cruise ship after a passenger dies from another virus.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they're linking it supposedly to the norovirus. It's kind of like the plot to what was that movie with Morgan Freeman and
Outbreak?
Dude?
Outbreak?
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't use cruise ships in that, but yeah, there's definitely a parallel here with both of them being 89, the virus number. By the way, you guys, this was also in the headlines yesterday. 11 cases, 9 confirmed. I was just like, God, I mean, they don't stop with just the same old repetitive encoding.
How do people not see this shit, man? Like, dude, it's fucking frustrating when you're trying to tell people, like, dude, get ready, this is coming, and they're not fucking listening. They're like oblivious.
Great kid. That's why I wish they'd really get it on and just really get it on. I'd like for it to look like Outbreak. I know it'd be dangerous for everybody, but I just want to see these people just get washed away. They need to be gone. I mean, these people are useful idiots, and they're only useful to the cabal. I mean, they're pathetic.
Yeah. Anyways, I won't keep more of your time. Take it easy.
Another thing, somebody told me, I was trying to find it. Somebody said that on April 14th, there was a simulation of a cruise ship being evacuated in Spain with a virus on board. And now, even if that is true, they'll probably say, well, they did that because that was 8 days after the outbreak and they planned to dock it there. But April 14th, I mean, come on, man. That's the anniversary of the Titanic hitting the iceberg. And we all know that's a big Jesuit day. Whoever left that comment, though, I couldn't confirm anywhere. I was trying to find it. I couldn't find it anywhere that happened. So if anybody has any information about that, the simulation of getting off the ship with the virus on it on April 14th, please email it to me at GematriaEffectNews@gmail.com.
Yeah, AI would have that information, but I would ask different AIs, not just one source, because in all honesty, AI is kind of stupid. Unless you really, I gotta turn off my camera.
Yeah. I've noticed ChatGPT is wrong about a lot of things. So yeah, I might have to ask some other ones. All right. I'm gonna let a few more people get in here, and then I gotta get Sweet Girl. Thanks, Green Kid.
Later, man.
I'll look into this. I see it's France. Oh, the home of the Jesuits. How about it? What's up, Justin?
Oh, hey. I'm just gonna keep it sweet. I joined kind of late. So I was doing some ciphers and stuff. I mean, I'm starting to get into it, but I don't know if you knew this. In the Latin cipher, the word Apollo and Mars equals 201. But yeah, I just thought it was interesting, like considering Rome was pretty much, I mean, if you want to say history is correct, Rome was founded by the Trojans, or the people who were from Troy. They founded modern day Rome, and their patron deity was Apollo. And then you probably know about the Romulus and Remus myth, like the twin sons of Mars that founded Rome. But I just thought that was interesting. I was like, because I haven't really like used this that much, but I was like looking at the Latin cipher and like saw that those both equated to 201, which was interesting.
Yeah, Mars, the god of war, old 201, and then the whole moon landing missions on the 201st day of the year. Yeah, indeed, that's a good reminder. And there's a lot of important things in that Latin cipher. It used to be called Jewish, but Derek renamed it Latin. But yeah, indeed.
For sure. Yeah, but that's all I wanted to add. I also wanted to, I'll probably call on a later day. But remember we had a conversation about like if like certain world stage actors have like choice, like to either go along with it or not.
Right.
But yeah, actually, I disagree with you. But I would actually like to talk about it at a later time, though.
Okay.
For sure.
We can do it. All right, man. Take care.
Thanks.
Yeah, and I said this too about hantavirus. It could be possible they're just like wetting our bill for something coming later this year, because there have been a lot of these norovirus stories. This isn't the first one. And the media didn't go crazy about the norovirus, though. They just kind of in background noise. But norovirus does have that 151-like pandemic. And remember, the first confirmed case outside of China in Bill Gates' backyard was on 15/1. We also recently talked about how on X-Files, the 151st episode was one where they talked about hantavirus. So, yeah, norovirus and the 56 definitely stands out up there, too. I got to go get my daughter here in just a second, so I need to wrap this up, but I will look more into this story and the other norovirus stories. Remember, it's 6 years since we were all told to stand 6 feet apart, and if you have missed all the work I've done on hantavirus, again, go back and look at the pandemic agreement of May 20th, 2025 by the World Health Organization. The anniversary of Ignatius of Loyola, the Jesuit founder, getting shot, because the pandemic agreement's about getting shots in people really fast, just like how the shot went live for Cooties 19 in the U.S. on the anniversary of Sandy Hook shooting. And that, again, Sandy Hook was a huge 201-56 ritual. Like the name of the jam for Cooties equaled 56, just like the virus, which is a prominent number at the Jesuits, which goes back to the Jesuit founder dying in France in 1556. And yeah, I see norovirus has the 56 too, and this is France. By the way, yesterday, the day of the quarantine in the U.S., where they said everyone's going to quarantine for 42 days. Of course, Jesuit equals 42, as does VACCINE. But yesterday was 181 days after the Superior General's birthday, the 42nd prime, for just more evidence of who's controlling the show. I'll look more into it. And thanks again to Sally G and Open Up for contributing. Yeah, time to go get Sweet Girl. If she takes a nap, she hasn't napped yet today, I might come back and present on if this norovirus thing, if I find anything worth presenting on here. That's all about if she takes a nap, because she's a little bit off yesterday and today. I wonder if her teeth are coming in big time right now, because she didn't nap. Well, she finally took a nap at 5 p.m. yesterday, and it was short-lived. But anyway, we'll leave it there for now, you guys. Till next time.